In math today, we're going to start a new skill, and I'm very excited to start it with you guys. We're going to start by finding our task on Seesaw. Okay, I can't hear. Thank you. Please click on Activities, click Assign to Class folder, and blue Math. Today we're going to start our telling time skill, using clocks to tell time. You may go ahead and click to open your task. And we're going to begin today by listening to what our success criteria is. You have been telling time in first grade and second grade. So what is the third grade skill? How is it different from second grade? Let's take a listen. We are going to start learning about telling time using an analog clock. Analog is the word for a clock that has hands and numbers like this. Today we are going to focus on understanding the vocabulary for the parts of a clock, and we're going to tell and write time from a clock. Today we're going to focus on telling time to the nearest 5 minutes, which is a second grade skill. The third grade skill, which we will practice more tomorrow, is telling time to each minute. Today we will be listening for your vocabulary as we talk about parts of a clock and as we tell time and write the time from an analog clock. In third grade, we know how to tell time to the nearest 5 minutes, but we're going to review with this video. Oh, let me try this again. Let's see if we can go in through clever. In second grade, you told time to the nearest 5 minutes, and that's what we're going to start with today. We're going to watch a vocabulary, if it will let me in, and we're going to remember how to tell time to the nearest 5 minutes. All right, I've got it pulled up. Here we go.
People say to me, "You're a bear. Why do you need to know how to tell time?" And I tell
Sorry, had something in my throat. Anyways, just because I'm a bear, I still need to know how to tell time. There are numbers on the face of a clock. They stand for hours, but come here, let's talk. It takes 1 hour for the hour hand to move from hour number 1 to hour number 2, then from 2 to 3 and 3 to 4. The numbers stand for hours, but wait, there's more. I've got a secret. Okay, you can spread it.
the numbers on the clock also stand for minutes.
You heard me. I can't say it any louder. There are 60 minutes in every hour. Each of these little marks stands for 1 minute. There are 60 altogether. Now do you get it? When the hour hand moves from 1 hour to the next, the minute hand goes all the way around. Yep, the minute hand is fast. Really? You bet. In 5 minutes it moves from one number to the next. When it reaches a new number, 5 minutes have gone by. To know the minutes, skip count by 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. Bet you never thought you learned that from a grizzly. Oh, and when we reach the 60th minute, 00 is the way that it's written. Sometimes the hour hand points between 2 numbers, but it's not a choice. The hour is the number, the hand is after. Skip count by 5s to find the minutes faster. Sometimes the hour hand points between 2 numbers, but it's not a choice. The hour is the number, the hand is after. Skip count by 5s to find the minutes faster. Listen, remember my tips and tricks for telling time to the nearest 5 minutes? See the 2 numbers, the hour hands in between. The number it's after is the hour indeed. Here it's in between the 2 and the 3. It's after the 2, so that's the hour, see? Look at the minute hand. Alright, we skip count by 5s to find the time. This is fun, like a bucket of honey. We go 5, 10, 15, 20. Now we see it's 20 minutes past 2. That's 2:20. Time for a bear shampoo. Here the hour's 9. It's not yet 10. Let's skip count to find the minutes again. Let's do it. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. It's 9:35. Let's hibernate all night. Sometimes the hour hand points between two numbers, but it's not a choice. The hour is the number, the hand is after. Skip count by 5s to find the minutes faster. Sometimes the hour hand points between two numbers, but it's not a choice. The hour is the number, the hand is after. Skip count by 5s to find the minutes faster.
Let's tell time to 5 minutes. The hour hand points between two digits. The hour is the number, the hand is after. Skip count by 5s to find the minutes faster.
All right, so again, that is the second grade skill, counting by 5s to tell time to the nearest 5 minutes. Our next part in Seesaw on slide 3, you may join me on slide 3. The next part is describing the parts of a clock. We're going to watch this next video, and I want you thinking about what the different hands mean on a clock. When we talk about an analog clock, there are some important vocabulary words to know. The flat surface of a clock is called the face of a clock. The short arrow, which is called a hand, is the hour hand. That short hand tells us the hour of the time. The long arrow is called the minute hand. The minute hand is what points to the minutes on the face of the clock. So when we read the time, we get an hour and minutes. Okay, so today when you are working and you're telling time to the nearest 5 minutes, you will be looking at these two parts. There's an hour hand, which is short, and the minute hand, which is longer. Go to slide number 5, please. We're going to watch an example of how I can tell time using an analog clock by counting by 5s to first find the minute, then first find the hour, then count by 5s to find the nearest minute. I'm going to push play. Right now you're looking at Zoom. You should be doing what I am doing, staying with the teacher. Let's do an example together, talking about these double meanings of numbers on the face of a clock. We're going to look at the hour hand first to determine the hour. Then we will look at the minute hand. The hour hand is the shorter arrow, the shorter hand on the face of the clock. Here is the hour hand. The hour hand is pointing in between 2 hours and 3 hours. Since it is past the 2 hours, we know it is in the 2 o'clock hour. Now we can look at our minute hand. Our minute arrow or minute hand is the longer hand. It will point to the very edge of the clock, which helps us if it's pointing to one of the minute tick marks. If you start at the top of the clock, you will start with 0 minutes. We record 0 minutes like this. But I notice the minute hand is not pointing at 0 minutes. When we move around the face of the clock, we count 5 tick marks or 5 minutes, which is why the 1 is equal to 5 minutes. If we count 5 more minutes, we will be at 10 minutes. If we keep counting around the clock by 5s, we will end up where the minute hand is pointing. Let's start at 0 and skip count by 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. The minute hand in this example is pointing directly at the 7, which is equal to 35 minutes. If you know your math facts times 5, you will know that 7 groups of 5 is equal to 35. Your multiplication facts with 5 can help you as you look at time on a clock. Our hour hand is pointing past the 2, so we know it's in the 2 o'clock hour. Our minute hand is pointing at 35 minutes. Our time shows 2 o'clock and 35 minutes, or 2:35. All right, I want you to go ahead and go to slide number 6. On slide number 6, you have a link to a clock tool. When you open it up, I want you to play around with the clock for 2 minutes and think about what you notice. What do you notice about the shorthand, which is the hour hand? This is the hour hand because it is shorter. The long hand is the minute hand. I want you to explore on this tool for 2 minutes and see what you notice. You may begin. You have had some time to explore our online clock and see what you notice about an analog clock. Remember, this is called the face of the clock, and these are hour and minute hands. Join me on slide number 7. We're going to practice this skill together of telling time to the nearest 5 minutes. So first, this is called an analog clock. I'm going to start by looking at the hour hand. I want to see what the hour is first. So I notice that the numbers on the clock will represent the hours and minutes. So I'm going to find the shorter hand. My short hand is the hour hand. I notice the red one is the short hand. So now I can start at 12 and count the hours. This is the 1 o'clock hour, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and 6 o'clock. I notice that it is in between the 6 and 7. So when the hour hand is in between two numbers, you always round down. You always go to the smaller number. So it is in the 6 o'clock hour. Our clock is showing the hour hand is in the 6 o'clock hour. So we can record that it is 6 o'clock in the hour section when we write time. Whatever I'm writing on Seesaw, you are writing on Seesaw on slide number 7. Now we can find the minute hand. The minute hand is our long arrow. So this is our minute hand. Our minute hand will point to the very edge of the clock to our tick marks or our minutes. So we can start at the top at 0 minutes and we can count by 5s to land where the minute hand is. Let's count together. I'm showing it on my clock, so you are showing it on your clock just like this. Ready? Let's count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. Our minute is 55 minutes. If it helps you, you can label the clock like this as you go around and as you count by 5s. This is a good strategy that we will be using later. Okay, so our minute hand points to the 11, which is 55 minutes. So when we record our minutes, it goes after the colon. And we say it is 6:55. Something I notice about this example is that my hour hand is almost to the 7. My hour hand is almost pointing to the 7. Who can answer why? Why is it almost all the way to the 7? What's another clue that can help us? Gloria?
Because it's almost next to the 12, the minute hand.
Yes. So Gloria is noticing that the minute hand right here is almost all the way around to the 12. It's almost done with the hour. So when your minute hand goes all the way around, your hour hand will go to the next hour. So this is sort of a tricky one. It almost looks like it's 7 o'clock, but it's not 7 o'clock yet. We still have 5 more minutes until we reach the 12, and then it would be 7 o'clock. Whenever your minute hand gets to the 12, you go to the new hour. Let's go to number 8 and let's try it again. Go to slide number 8. Let's practice together. First, I want you to find your hour hand. Go ahead and highlight your hour hand on your seesaw task. You should have highlighted your red hand. That is the hour hand. It is shorter. Let's look to see which hours it is in between. You guessed it. I see it's in between 8 and 9. The hour hand is in between 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock. So if it's in between those, I'm always going to go to the lowest number. That means it's in the 8 o'clock hour. Our hour hand just passed 8. That means it is 8 o'clock. So I can record that on my seesaw page. The hour is 8 o'clock. Whatever I am writing, you are writing on your seesaw page 8. Now we can look for our minutes. We know it's in the 8 o'clock. And I see that my hour hand is just past 8. It's almost pointing right at the 8. So I'm predicting that there's not that many minutes if it's just now passing 8 o'clock. So let's go find our minute hand. Highlight your minute hand. This is our minute hand. It's the long hand. It will point further to the minutes around the edge of the face of the clock. And now let's count to find our minutes. We always start at the top. 12 o'clock is 0 minutes. Each of these is 1 minute. That's why we count by 5s. There's 5 in each. Ready? Let's skip count by 5s. 5, 10. Oh, there we are. Not that many minutes have passed because our hour hand is pointing to the 10 minutes. Remember, there's 5 minutes in each chunk. That's why we can count by 5s. So our hour is 8 o'clock and our minutes stop at 10 minutes. Record this now on your seesaw page. All right, I want you to try number 9. Do slide number 9. And then I'm going to be checking screens. I need everybody to be on number 9 so that I can check your screens. Go ahead and do it now. On slide 9, we need to start with our hour hand. Our hour hand is the short hand. Here it is. I notice it is between 11 and 12. You find the 2 numbers it's in between. It's between 11 and 12, and then you choose the smaller number. Every time you choose the smaller number when it's in between 2. That means it is 11 o'clock. Now we can find our minute hand. Our minute hand is the long one. We can count by fives because it's pointing directly at one of the big numbers. So let's start at the top. This is 0 minutes. And let's count by 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. 40 minutes have passed. Now you can record your minutes after the colon. It is 11:40 on the analog clock. Yes, Ashley.
I actually got that wrong because I got confused because I thought the red hour hand was for the minutes.
Yep. So thank you, Ashley, for sharing. It's okay to get things wrong. That doesn't frustrate me. That's what I'm here for. I feel frustrated when people are not listening and then getting it wrong. If you are listening and paying attention and make a mistake, that's okay. That's what I'm here for. Since Ashley brought it up, she said she got confused about which one's the minute hand, which one's the hour hand. I'm going to teach you a quick trick. I'm going to show you something on my whiteboard. Sometimes kids get confused about hour and minute. So look at the word hour. Look at the word minute. I noticed that hour is a shorter word. There's only 4 letters in it. Minute is a longer word. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 letters in it. This is a good trick to help you remember. The hour hand is the short hand. The minute hand is the long hand. So if you think of the words hour and minute, you might remember hour is short, minute is long. Hour is short, minute is long. Okay, that's a good tip to help some kids remember the difference between them. Great work. Today, boys and girls, for your task, you're going to be practicing the skill of telling time to the nearest 5 minutes. Remember, this is a 2nd grade skill. After everybody's got this, then tomorrow we can start counting. After we count to 5s, we'll count on by 1s, okay? Your task is on slide 10 through 15. Slide 10 shows you 3 analog clocks over here and 3 digital times. Your instructions say to draw a line to match each clock to the correct time. So your job is to find the clock and match it with a line, okay? You're going to do that on 2 different slides, 10 and 11. Then on slides 12 through 14, you have 1 big clock and you have 4 different times to choose from. You will read the time and then you will circle the correct answer on the right. Slide 15, you need to use the mic to describe your success with telling time to the nearest 5 minutes. How did you do today? Were you able to tell time to the nearest 5 minutes or not yet? Tell me why. Tell me your because. When you get done with Seesaw, on slide 16, there is a game. You can click to play this game to practice telling time. This is something we'll probably do after lunch and recess. Are there any questions about your task?